We've already seen one Magic Cup night at the Fairfield Showgrounds. Are we about to see another, an even bigger one? Southern Districts Raiders taking on Sydney FC in the Hahn Australia Cup quarterfinals, and full stands and big crowds starting to make their way around the perimeter on a mild, windless night. Absolutely perfect conditions for football in the southwestern suburbs of Sydney. The Raiders are having an inspired season. They have knocked out an A-League opponent in the Macarthur FC team. They are pushing for finals in NPL New South Wales, and now they welcome Sydney FC, the 2 times winner of the Hahn Australia Cup, out to the Fairfield Showgrounds, which looks an absolute picture tonight for this occasion. Hugely anticipated match. The substitutes are even getting the cheers as they run out across the arena to go and take their seats on the bench, and the teams aren't too far away. I'm joined by Andy Harper tonight. Harps, beautiful conditions for a game of football, and the fans in the southwest have voted with their feet.
It's magnificent, isn't it, Teo? Not far for reference points for people viewing tonight. We're not far from Marconi and Sydney United, right in the heart of such a football hotbed down here in the southwest of Sydney. We're at the Fairfield Showgrounds. This is where the Macarthur Bulls train. The playing surface is immaculate. It's the best I've seen on the cup circuit this year. Not a lot of wear and tear on this, but it is beautiful. It's going to deliver, I'm sure, a great game of football. The conditions absolutely perfect for football here tonight. Still fresh, clean, and ready to go.
So both teams making their way out in their home kits tonight. You saw the Cove. They've travelled for this one, and the SD Raiders faithful, seniors, juniors, and fans have filled the grandstands here as the teams walk out onto the pitch. The Raiders, they're playing with house money. They've already knocked out one A-League team. If they were to pull off the upset here tonight, it would be monumental, and they would advance to the semi-finals. And amazingly, there would only be one A-League team left in this year's Cup if Sydney FC do not advance tonight. So as both teams line up, just a quick update on the teams. There's been a very late change for the Raiders, and in the named squad initially it was going to be Lachlan Everett, but he's been replaced by Mihail Marcic, who comes into the team. One of 4 changes to the Raiders, who were defeated 3-1 by Apia Leichhardt, the top team in NPL New South Wales at the weekend. James Letter comes back into defence. They've also welcomed back Martin Fernandez, Charlie Ragg, and their top scorer, Noah Chianese. 8 goals in the league, yet to score in the Cup. Maybe tonight is the night for him. And as you can see, plenty of family and young fans getting the opportunity to experience the walkout there with the SD Raiders players. Sydney FC, they make just the one change from the team that defeated Brisbane Roar in the round of 16, and that is Akol Akon, who comes into the starting 11. He moves Zach de Jesus to the bench, and there is no spot on that bench for Jake Holman, who drops out. There's Goran Laboya, the coach of the SD Raiders. He's inspired this amazing rise into the top flight of New South Wales football, and now on this cup run all the way to the quarterfinals. And there's his team. They faced Macarthur 2 years in a row at this very venue, 2 very different results. 5-0 in 2025, a win on penalties after a 1-1 draw last week. What a difference 12 months makes. Patrick Kisnorbo, he'll still have grand final defeat last season fresh in his mind as his team looks to add a piece of silverware before the new A-League campaign even kicks off. The Sky Blues are 3 wins away from winning the Australia Cup for a 3rd time. Young goalkeeper Gus Herfslet will be between the sticks tonight, and holding the whistle will be Rowan Fisher, one of the best in NPL New South Wales. Assistants are Thomas Galatli and Daphne Gunaris, and the 4th official is one of the breakthrough referees in the A-League, Eric Saba. James Letter back in the captain's armband, and his opposite number, Ryan Grant, all exchanging handshakes and pleasantries before we get down to the business of what should be a really competitive and hot opening to the game. I feel like these teams will rise to the occasion of a small venue with full stands, lots of singing in the crowd. Both teams are going to do a change of ends here. Sydney will attack the right of your screens in the first half. Harps, how important for SD Raiders that they just hang in there and avoid conceding the early goal?
Yeah, I think so. Spoke with Coach Laboya before the match, and he was really proud of his club, really proud of his teams, but you know, outlined in no uncertain terms just how difficult the demands are on semi-pro footballers. Got full-time jobs. Most of those guys are on building sites from 6 o'clock in the morning and having to play their sport. Bulls last week, into Apia on the weekend, into Sydney this week, all the while trying to keep alive in the Cup and make the finals of the New South Wales NPL. It's been a great story. There's a lot of the neutral money, I guess, would be hoping that the SD Raiders can continue and add another chapter to this remarkable run that they're enjoying at the moment.
And of course, on this half of the draw, the only other A-League team standing, Melbourne Victory, will play another New South Wales NPL team, Apia Leichhardt. We could have a big blue in the semi-finals, or we could have the biggest boil-over of the lot. Time to find out. Sydney FC to take kickoff, the quarterfinals of the Hahn Australia Cup, live from the Fairfield Showgrounds. And we're underway with Sydney FC taking kickoff, and a long ball from Jordan Courtney Perkins to get things started. Right up onto the head of Matthias McAllister, and an early clearance to be made for the Raiders' defence onto the head of Alexander Popovich. And now Courtney Perkins, freshly shaved head, all the way back to his goalkeeper, Gus Herfslut, between the sticks, with Harrison Devonish Mears still out nursing rib surgery that he had during the off-season. And you said how good the surface was. Harps, I imagine that the first few touches of the ball would not defy what you experienced out there having a walk pre-game.
Players are going to love it. I mean, last time we saw Sydney in their home city was the match against Tottenham, and Allianz Stadium was pretty cut up after a heavy winter of rugby league and rugby union. This is like a bowling green. The players are really going to love it.
Sydney, of course, raced down to a 3-0 lead at Spencer Park against the Brisbane Roar in the round of 16. They're able to put a big gap in the game and hold on to their advantage tonight. SD Raiders will just want to avoid a similar early concession here. Putting a foot on the ball, Seb Malfara. Bodies go sprawling, and keeping his feet, Luka Knezovic. Back to Letta at the centre of defence. He had to go to ground to keep the attack moving. Over to Cooper Hannigan on the right, and Hannigan is felled, and Garuccio comes away with possession for Sydney FC. Into the midfield he moves it. Sakine with a touch. Now McAllister. Garuccio still bombing forward, and now Tiago Quintal from the left flank. The cutback and a swipe at the ball missed initially. Blocked from Sakine. Grant sends it back into the box. It's chaos out there in the opening minutes, and there's no let up for the Raiders. Quintal dancing on the ball, fashions across, and then it's volleyed away and exhale. That was a hectic first forward foray. Well,
nervous defending, but effective defending in the end by SD Raiders, which is an appropriate point before anything particularly happens, Teo, to acknowledge what Goran Laboya has done as coach of this team. This time last year, they were trying and successfully thereafter earning the right to get promoted to New South Wales NPL 1, which they did, and now, this year later, they're trying to get into the finals of that hallowed competition, as well as being in the quarterfinal of the Cup, as we're watching tonight. It's really just an incredible performance by this coach.
And to put it in a bit of context, it's not like they came up flying up the league. They did finish second behind University of New South Wales. It was a bit of a rock fight where both teams were not exactly winning to the finish line. There were plenty of points dropped along the way. New South Wales League One is a very tough league to win.
Very, very tough.
And
just ask Sydney Olympic.
Well, that level of competitiveness has held them in good stead for this campaign. Here's Akol Akon sliding off his head.
And then this time last week, again, just to present the context, they were excellent against the Bulls. It should never have gone to a penalty shootout. Clearly the better team over the 90 minutes, and earned, even though it did take the lottery, to get there in the end. So they're very capable.
Chianese, that turned into a shot. I'm not sure it was his initial intention, but he swept it across the face.
And he was good last week against the Bulls without the finishing product. Very creative on the ball, very tight and safe in possession. Just saw a little snippet of that then. The final offering left a little bit to be desired, but the space for which he created for himself.
Chianese with 8 goals this season. He is the younger brother of former A-League player and Sydney FC player, no less, Joel Chianese. Went Went over to WA to finish off his NPL career. Older brother Joel, but Noah still playing in the top flight in New South Wales, and he's on the ball here but with no one to play it to, and picked up by Herfslet uncontested.
Yeah, that was a bit unfortunate. A nice face there was Kianesi, but just rushed his decision making.
Popovich out to Ryan Grant on the right, the veteran going on for another season. Yulee, misplaced pass.
And again, talking with the SD types before the game, there was a thought that Sydney might expect us to sit back and just defend and hope. We might find some opportunities to try and get in their face and catch them a little bit by surprise, and that's clearly in evidence here. Pushing numbers forward, they're intense in closing down.
Patrick Disnorbo very aggressively gesticulating for his team to press up, for the back line to push up. And goalkeeper Michael Figuera quick to clear. Over to the right, Hannigan, bit of a lost cause off his own head to go and chase, but Herfslet is drawn out of his penalty area and concedes a throw in. And you're right, there is that intent there. There's no thoughts of men behind the ball in these opening exchanges. They've avoided conceding from that first manic attack from Sydney FC, and now the Raiders trying to grow in confidence. Alfara. Bouncing ball will be retrieved by Lachlan McGrath. He plays it to James Letter. Back to Figuera. He's got the switch of flanks on over to Charlie Ragg. Ragg controls the pass on the chest, and now Kianese turning and sending a diagonal ball. Fernandez, and then spectacular leap from Seb Malfara in midfield. Garuccio prods a back pass. Herfslet got to be quick here, the keeper, and Yulee was his outlet, and Sydney FC have thought it through. Grant, and Yulee was the cool head they needed there. And Quintal with a great touch opens up the pitch over on the right. Tiago Quintal slides it to Akola Con. And a Con, no foul.
Hey, so let a lot go. Rowan Fisher set the stall early from a referee's viewpoint, and given what's transpired earlier, there was no way Akola Con was going to get that call. Another day, another decision clearly. It was a reasonable question from the attacker, but given what's gone before, no surprise. Beautiful work in the lead-up by Tiago Quintal, just quietly.
So a let-off for McGrath. No foul given. Jet McHugh-Shaw with a long, rangy pass. Kianese is going to run onto his own flick header here. And Herfslet, for the second time in a minute, is drawn out of his penalty area to clear.
Yeah, very good opening 6 minutes by the Raiders. Giving themselves a really good start here.
Fernandez weaving through traffic, caught by Joe Lacey right as he went to let rip. Oh, lusty challenge coming through from Seb Malfara, and a little word of not very encouragement for Tiago Quintal on the way.
I was so impressed with Malfara last week against the Bulls. I thought he was outstanding. It's a lot of the ball and a little bit of Tiago Quintal, and the ref on the spot blowing up for the first foul. Now, Malfara was outstanding last week. Not the team's captain, but provides a lot of leadership in the centre of that midfield.
McCallum still lurking, but a defensive header from McGrath finds its way back to Figuera comfortably enough. McHugh-Shaw, very left-footed player. We'll see it on show tonight. That one is gifting the ball back to Popovich. Joe Lacey. Now Garuccio scored a great goal against Brisbane, probably the goal of the national rounds. Certainly among a few contenders. Popovich's body language tells the story. Doesn't like the options currently presenting to him. There's a big gap in midfield, and Takahiro Sakine comes and runs into that gap just to get a feel for the play, try to drag some players out of position, but it has backfired because here go Raiders. Luka Knezovic with a switch, shouts for handball, referee on the scene, unmoved. Yuli comes away. Plays it out to the left. Garuccio makes ground, keeps the ball in. And thus the attack continues. McAllister back to Garuccio. And across comes Hannigan in uncompromising fashion, but a fascinating little tactical duel there as Raiders pressed up in one possession high. Now their thoughts have to turn to defending. Garuccio, Hahn denied the ball. Charging out of his area, Charlie Ragg able to win possession away. And now a whistle goes. But a very interesting last minute.
Great passage. Both teams looking to cut forward and quickly when they get the chance. Sydney looking more threatening, perhaps unsurprisingly. Nezovic, they really needed to take that ball deeper into the penalty area. He's given up the whole opportunity with the worst option he could have come up with. Maybe that's the stage, maybe it's nerves. But those opportunities aren't going to grow on trees. You've got to take and make the most of them when they do come.
Keneze just inside the box. No one to cross to at the back post. Chasing was Michal Marcic, the late inclusion. Hannigan. He's got to be careful, Hannigan. He loves to fly in. He loves a foul. And the referee perhaps just acquainting himself here, saying not too many of those, please.
Well, maybe referee Fisher with industry knowledge of Hannigan, refereeing that league on a weekly basis. Not much in the challenge, clear foul. Seen enough already of Sakine, Red Diamonds legend, to know that all things being equal, he's going to be a massive inclusion for Sydney this season. First of a 3-year deal signed.
Here he is popping up now on the left flank. A first-time ball, sharp through the box. Too quick for all the advancing attackers. Hahn recycles play. Quintal. Joe Lacey. Tiago Quintal confronted by Jet McHugh-Shaw. But the ball remains at Sydney feet. Defence sitting very deep for the Raiders as Yuli works it back out to Grant. It's 5 across the back. Nothing to apologise for the Raiders there. They're laying in wait for the chance to go and hunt and counter. Sydney happy to play keepings off for now. Sakine is trying to pop up between the lines, but yep, Quintal's looking for him now. And Sakine had just a little window of opportunity to switch flanks, but decided to go back to Courtney Perkins. Now Lacey and Yuli working together. And a nice little 1-2 this time. Lacey out to the left. Garuccio. Plays the ball onto Sakine, and across comes Knezovic. The clearance is intercepted by Garuccio. Raiders not off the hook. Uncompromising challenge from Malfara. Garuccio bounces back up. It's a real war for the ball. And the referee has put the whistle away, and now it sounds. And Raiders can protest, but it's a set-piece opportunity for Sydney FC.
Well, he's full of opinions too, Malfara. Very strong character. Was this a case of giving as good as you're getting? And then Garuccio, his body in the way there, you do become a bit of a target by proximity. Great numbers from the Cove. Made the trip southwest, 40-45 minutes from base camp at Moore Park.
Here watching on your phone at the ground, you can get a real appreciation for just what a great turnout there is here tonight. If you're watching from home, I tell you there's a really good vibe inside the Fairfield Showgrounds, and the away fans are hoping that it can get even better for them here. 3 in the wall. Takahiro Sakine is the right footer, but Garuccio wants to use his left. First head, Sydney FC. Hahn is up, and no real power behind it as it's held onto by Figueira. He wants the quick outlet. It's going to bend onto the head of Lacey. Hahn Caught by Rag, but Quintal bursting through. And the clean-up has been effectively done there by Martin Fernandez. Dangerous pass into the middle though. Letter's got to go. He's caught by Sakine. Takahiro Sakine rounds the keeper. Jet McHugh-Shaw slides in and he saves the day. Last-ditch defending from the Jet.
Superb resilience from the SD Raiders, and that goal goes in. There would have been at least a sort of a shroud of controversy, because the last attack, the free kick, a Coles header to the goalkeeper, claimed as it was by Figueira. He ran to the edge of his penalty area, looked for a quick release throw, and 2 Sydney players jumped in his way to block the throw, which is an illegal movement. Referee says play on. 2 seconds later, they have to clear their own lines desperately. I mean, there's letting the game go, and there's blatancy like that the referee missed. God knows why. It's not as though he was unsighted.
Well, I wonder if the sliding scale of strictness might just be turned up a little notch after 15 minutes now, because there has been a lot let go. Jet McHugh-Shaw diving in front of the shot from Takahiro Sakine to avoid his team going 1-0 down.
He started really well, McHugh-Shaw. He's got a really sweet left foot. And that was outstanding defending.
Courtney Perkins, McAllister's been a little isolated at the top of the attack so far, and that long ball beyond his run on that occasion. And we're about to see that left foot again of McHugh-Shaw as he drives it down the line looking for Charlie Rag. Grant read the ball beautifully in the air. There's still a battle to be had. Grant, a bit of holding on going. Fernandez comes away, takes the shot, why not? And Herfslet right behind it. It is a shot on target though for the SD Raiders.
Yeah, he's got nice feet. Jumped inside well again. Might have been a little bit more aggressive in carrying the ball a bit deeper, a bit closer to goal. Nice work to make that space initially. A really good opening quarter hour by SD Raiders.
7 goals this season for Martin Fernandez, but he hasn't scored for 2 months. It was 8 weeks ago against St George City, his most recent of those 7. So no better stage than this one to re-find the scoring touch. Here he is on the ball again, jinking inside, shows too much of it to Lacey, and he gets ironed out for his trouble. A heavy landing too. Play continues though. Fernandez gingerly gets back to his feet as Knezovic has the ball. Now Letter over to McHugh-Shaw. Goran Laboya whistling from the sideline. He wanted it going to the left, but that time it went up the middle. Now Farah. He's got a spectacular leap on him, but he doesn't always know exactly how to time it. And he flew a little early there. No harm done at ground level though, as McGrath plays it back to Letter. And this time the pass is intercepted. Akola Con getting wise to how SD Raiders like to clear. That's a beautiful pass from Akon. And here's the chance now for Matthias McAllister, goalkeeper out of his box, and it's blocked away by Letter on the line. Well, the invisible force field in front of the goal is coming up for the SD Raiders, as this time it's Letter who saves the day. And that brilliant pass from Akola Con was agonisingly close to being an assist for Matthias McAllister.
Yeah, it was a superb pass from Akola Con. The Raiders' luck, Michael Figueira, the Raiders' goalkeeper, put himself right on the edge there to sort of rush things a little bit, give his surrounding teammates an opportunity to get back and populate the goal which it vacated, and it worked for him. 2 great saves by the Raiders' defence.
Sydney have done everything but score now. Can they apply the finishing touch? Akon takes on Rag, and he's eventually wrestled to the ground, but the initial foul is paid against Akon for engaging Rag to begin with.
Yeah, I tend to agree. That was my first response. It's a beautiful ball from the aforementioned Akon. And look at Figueira. Mate, you're putting yourself right on the edge. 16 minutes in, you commit a foul there, you might not see the rest of the game, but it worked. And they're living on the edge. They've got a mentality. They're going to have a go at Sydney. There's the foul by Akon initially. The referee in the end awarded.
No let up in the tempo of the game. No thoughts of the Raiders for having had 2 lucky escapes, sitting back and trying to clamp things down. Sydney FC trying to go at them again here, but that pass, well, it was running long, but the referee's going to bring it back here for a foul by Charlie Ragg. Tiago Quintal, who was already the target of a pretty wild slide challenge from Malfara earlier in the game. This time he's knocked over again. Patrick Kisnorbo riding every kick of the game as per. Ryan Grants. Now Popovic. Raiders just slowly forcing Sydney FC backwards here. Herfslut, Yuli, Quintal, and now Lacey. He can break into space here. Garuccio free as a bird over on the left, and that's where the ball is going. Well, Garuccio trod on the ball and lost his advantage. He skips past Hannigan. Sakine, low into the near post, and McHugh Shaw shows us his right foot as he clears away.
Yeah, Hannigan just dragged out. A couple of occasions in that possession from Sydney where the Raiders players were just a little bit late to their assignment and Sydney skipped clear. They're making some nice movements through midfield. Sydney.
Lacey. Sakine. Ryan Grant. And now Akon at the edge of the box. Yuli. Akon trying to slalom through defenders. He breaks wide. Deflected shot saved away by Figueira. And Charlie Ragg is quickly into clear. And it's going to avoid going out for a corner kick thanks to Marcic volleying it square out for a throw.
Just looking a bit stretched at the moment, the Raiders. See off this little period from Sydney. If they're able, it'll be a huge confidence boost for them. Fernandez just a little bit sloppy in trying to stop initially Akola Khan. And it took quite a desperate hack away in the end to save the Raiders on that occasion.
Slight challenge from Hannigan, answered as well. The challenge from Marcic. Courtney Perkins. And Raiders will consolidate possession. Here's Charlie Ragg. Plays it out to McGrath on the left. It's all offside. First of the game. You mentioned Michael Figueira, the goalkeeper, running the risk of a red card, Harps, had he brought the attacker down. They don't have their regular goalkeeper on the bench, the SD Raiders. 17-year-old Isaac Junta, who is more often than not the goalkeeper for the team's under 18s, not even the under 20s, is sitting on the bench tonight. So I reckon if anyone had heart palpitations during that phase of play, it was the youngster.
Well, if he played in the 18s on the weekend, Teo had a busy day. The under 18s lost 11-2 against Manly on the weekend. So if he played in that game, it's some preparation for an Australian Cup quarter-final.
So that's the nature of the squad rotation and the demands.
Put it this way, got a lot of practice. And I don't think he could be blamed for any of the 11.
Quintal. Now Lacey. Flick by Quintal. Garuccio. And one-on-one defending from Hannigan sees it over the line for a corner kick.
Yeah, very diligent from Hannigan. And just gradually Sydney enjoying more and more football, deeper and deeper into the Raiders half, who are still looking to play themselves. I mean, they're hanging on well. They've got a belief about them. Perhaps not a physical freshness given the schedule of matches they've had to deal with recently. Dovetailed in and around, of course, full-time jobs, most of which are on building sites. They're doing a terrific job here, but Sydney starting to flex some muscles.
Can they make a corner work? High out swinger. Grant's header, and it was off target, but Figueira already on his way to the ball. Puts his gloves around it. Lacey kept his feet. Quintal, nice close control. On. Yuli. And a loose pass. Patrick Isnorbo shows his disgust on the sideline. And now an exchange of headers. Lacey, Akon. What do you make of the Sydney midfield? Of course, the departure of Paul Oakon-Engstler was always going to be so important. Joe Lacey gets a shot tonight. Reece Yuli playing a bit deeper as the more defensive midfielder in the setup.
Yeah, well, Reece Yuli started with a lot of football last season and then tended to make way for other players. And Piero Quispe was along with... Oh, Joey Lacey's been a very irritable presence, and that's a nasty one.
And he's wiped out Malfara right in front of the SD Raiders bench.
A little bit of bush justice, you'd think, in that from Joe Lacey. Malfara has been throwing his muscle around in midfield. Another case in point there. But as he goes to protect the ball, that's injudicious from Joe Lacey, having a word now with the referee. Looks like he'll avoid official sanction.
Didn't look great, but Malfara is back on his feet.
He asked the question.
He was treated outside the field of play because that's where he ended up, but he's able to stay on 11 versus 11 for this attacking set piece. The Raiders, as much as there was protesting at the nature of the foul, I'm not sure they'd be totally disheartened that that frustration is starting now to manifest for Sydney FC. And McHugh Shaw, with his left peg, we know can deliver a long ball. Can he get this one pinpoint? Here comes the free kick for Raiders then. It's going to land just outside the edge of the box. Good header initially from Courtney Perkins. Kienese stumbling, but kept the ball. Knezovic drops it at the penalty spot, and it's catching practice for Herfsler. He releases quickly, but Hannigan is back, and he's got support from McHugh Shaw. Quick switch of flanks. The vision was excellent there to see Marcic over on the right. Figueira's turn. Rag had to work and just couldn't make ground, and our camera operator down at ground level gets his first touch of the game.
And even in those moments, you can see the Raiders intent on trying to play, not just lump the ball long and try and help themselves to the second effort. Really trying to play constructively, even against the difficulty of the opponent that is presented by Sydney. It's a wayward ball from Quintal, salvaged by some more muscular defending from Joe Lacey.
And now the Raiders looking to capitalise as Sydney get reorganised. A couple of probing passes, both of them intercepted, but again, all it takes is one giveaway to open the door. Raiders very accustomed to stinging on the counter. Malfara back up and running. Yuli on his case. Knezovic. Hannigan bouncing over the head of Charlie Ragg.
That's twice now. He's been dealt the impossible, Charlie Ragg, to go and reacquaint himself with some of his teammates. I'm not actually 6'3". It's going to be hard to bring those high balls down with an inch of space in my favour on the sideline.
Sakine already falling off balance. Lacey evades the challenge of Letter. Hannigan, Letter back in, gets his man in Lacey. Talked about the Bush Justice halves. I think we're seeing more of it play out here. It's a real scrap. And Hannigan never far away, and the free kick goes in Raiders' favour. The ripple of applause around the grandstands, which is populated primarily by Raiders fans.
Great desperation by the skipper, Letta. So I can't quite see where the foul is here, unless it's for Joe Lacey lying on the ball, but that was for the briefest of moments and inadvertent, I'd suggest. Quite sure what the ref's seen there, but at any rate, bit of relief for the Raiders, who go long.
Chianese trying to time his run. Good body position there from Alexander Popovic, and it bounces down to the goalkeeper comfortably enough. But that will take us to half an hour goalless in this Hahn Australia Cup quarterfinal, first of the four. On the same side of the draw as Apia Leichhardt and Melbourne Victory, the two remaining A-League teams in the competition, hoping to meet in the semi-final, but easier said than done. Takahiro Sakine, first time ball, straight to Letta.
Amazing evolution of this competition, whole pile of reasons why. But in its earliest incarnations, the draw wasn't a completely open one, and it was engineered.
Hahn, offside.
There was a moment of an engineering mechanism which guaranteed an NPL level or lower grassroots team progress to the deep stages of the competition. Under James Johnson's leadership of Football Australia, the Australia Cup went to a totally random open draw, and look at what you get. No handouts needed for the NPL teams nowadays. They're earning it, albeit with some assistance from some underperforming A-League operations. Nevertheless.
But it's also within the games themselves, the competitive balance of the matches themselves seems to have squared up quite a bit.
Yeah, well, I think, you know, the Cup has driven new standards, which is one of the reasons for having it. It's been fantastic. Nevertheless, all those things considered, to just have two A-League teams left in the final eight should be sending messages home to APL HQ.
Quintal, quickly taken free kick. Hahn from the byline. Good header away. Lacey, Malfara against Sakine, and now Hannigan. And the referee has seen a foul on Malfara.
Got a whack on the head there.
Spoke about how great these travelling away Sydney fans are. Harrison Devonish-Mears is in the Cove tonight as an away fan, which you love to see. Great commitment from the injured and recovering Sydney FC goalkeeper and the reigning A-League goalkeeper of the year. He's one of many.
He's quite the character.
There they are. Can you see HDM in amongst that? Can't jump around too much with his rib situation. Maybe he's standing at the back of all that.
They've come in good numbers, the Cove. And they've got a tight game on their hands. They're no walkover at all, the Raiders. They're doing a sensational job. Sydney have played some nice stuff. They've had two excellent chances to score, which have been brilliantly defended by the Raiders.
Shouts for handball, but the referee on the scene waved away the appeals. Quintal with the beautiful bending ball, and Figueira had the jump on Hahn to get out to the edge of his box and claim. McHugh Shaw, a hurried pass this time, falls straight to Lacey. Lacey looking for Sakine. Good first touch, sets up the chance, and he lashes home. Sydney FC breakthrough. And it is Takahiro Sakine. He goes from scoring against Spurs to SD Raiders. And it is Sydney FC 1-0 in the Cup.
Well, the irony, Teo, the irony. It's the most assured left foot on the paddock, or second, after Benny Caruccio, of Jet McHugh Shaw, whose left foot's been beautiful all night until then. Dead giveaway with his crossfield ball that's intercepted by Joe Lacey. Lacey's touch and delivery is excellent, superb play. And so is this from Sakine. Lovely receipt and a stunning finish. He's going to be a great pickup. He'll prove to be a great pickup for Sydney. Figueira can do nothing from that range.
And it's his second goal of the Australia Cup, having scored against Brisbane Roar in the round of 16 as well. So a marker set down by the visiting team at last. They break through. It took just over half an hour, but now they will feel as though they've got fitting reward for their quality of chances created to date. And Raiders, who are already playing quite an aggressive style, now have no reason not to keep trying to find a goal of their own. But Sydney FC have got their tails up and are looking for more. Garuccio, Sakine sprinting. He's declined as an option. Quintal at the edge of the box, caught in possession. Now breaking out of defence, Marcic ran himself into trouble, but McGrath is there to help out. McHugh Shaw over to Rag. Rag, a shallow clearance. Hahn tied up. Chianese, well worked in the end. Marcic, got to be careful though. Yuli challenging, and Hahn the beneficiary. And he just ran the ball out of play there, Hahn, before all of the battling and the tackle took place. Norbo trying to keep the energy high. He wants Sydney FC to score a second, get a buffer. Garuccio. Ryan Grant. Hahn coming to the ball. Raiders got numbers around the ball. Rag clips it over the top. Chianese chasing down the left wing. Popovic right there with him. Popovic goes to ground, and Chianese kept his feet. Popovic back in again, and it will be a throw in.
He's hard to knock off the ball, Chianese, we've just seen then. Really nice close control.
Offside.
Not alert, not mobile enough on that occasion. Probably, if you were to pick a deficit in his match, that would be it. In his game style, that would be it. But his close control and technique is a real danger potentially for the Sydney defenders. And the word for the Raiders after this great start that they've made is a quick reflection to last week against the Bulls, when they went down and had to chase that result last week against the Bulls. So all's not lost here. They just need to make sure the game doesn't get away from them. And Sydney, with the quality they've got, Thiago Quintal, Sakine, Joe Lacey's been brilliant tonight too. Really enjoying his extended run as a first 11 player.
Letter clears from McAllister. Yuli plays the ball to Courtney Perkins. Garuccio. He waits for Sakine, the goal scorer. Malfara on him in a flash. Hannigan caught in possession. Sakine bounces back up. Cleared by Marcic. Now down the right, Hannigan running out of space against the line.
Disappointing. He tried to settle things down, Malfara, just to modulate the tempo. He succeeded in doing it until he overhit his pass. Hannigan couldn't retrieve, and Sydney get another chance now in possession. Very tenacious, this Raiders team, you know, down a goal but refusing to go into their shell.
Another look at how the free kick was given away. Sydney FC team not missing a huge number of players who would be nominally first choice. Marcel Tisserand, possibly Abel Wallity if he was fit and in form. Jake Holman hoping to work his way back to regular game time.
Alderson Toure, perhaps.
He sits on the bench. Wataru Kamicho.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he finished last season so strongly after being out of the team for large parts of the campaign.
Oh, Yuli dicing with danger, and it's cleared off the line. It didn't cross. Play continues, and it sails out. Marcic volleys away. Goodness gracious.
Wow.
Heart-stopping stuff, and Herfslet somehow cleared it out of the teeth of goal.
Well, it's amazing, really. It's nearly flute and mouth. Wow, that would have rivaled last week's goalkeeping calamity. And then Marcic just rushed things, unfortunately for the Raiders, and Sydney survive.
For those of you who didn't see Melbourne City's defeat to Lions FC, a back pass that was not dealt with similar circumstance, but a pass from a little bit further out.
He shakes his head now off camera. He is shaking his head. How did that go so nearly wrong? Look, it's got a bit on it and a bobble too. And the chance shouldn't be over there. Really, Marcic didn't need to rush the way he did. Might have put Sydney under more pressure. It's a great little touch from Fernandez. You'd have to think that was a foul, surely. I mean, did Popovic get any of the ball there? Coming in from behind?
Has been a leniently adjudicated game so far. And the big call over on the outer side, Daphne Gunaris, the assistant referee, did not wave the flag as Herfslet desperately scrambled the ball off the goal line. Through comes Knezovic. Yuli. Garuccio hopped over the ball almost. Allows Hannigan to come in and make a contest, and he has Marcic on the go. Advantage given right in front of the grandstand. Courtney Perkins stops the ball getting to Chianese. Crunching challenge. Yuli felled by Marcic. We're about to see the first card of the game. Seemingly not, but Yuli has been laid out by that tackle.
Well, the referee not overly concerned with Yuli's fitness. It's sort of hard to know, and I can't say with any conviction at all that's not a foul, but how the referee has discriminated that one compared to plenty of the others that have gone on, including just this side of the field 30 seconds ago, the Popovic challenge from behind on Fernandez. This is the difficulty of refereeing, managing that even, consistent line, and it's the difficulty sometimes for players to read what's going on, and oftentimes is why they lose emotional control in these situations with the perceived inconsistencies.
Sakine just cut off by Letta. The deflection might be a kind one though. McAllister keeps the attack going. Sakine, first time ball. Quintal gets some space from his marker, but over the head of a con with the cross, and a foot race out through the left for the Raiders. Brian Grant comes across to block Charlie Ragg. We're into the last 3 minutes of regulation in what has been a really entertaining cup tie so far.
Yeah, it's been an excellent quarterfinal, Tao. I couldn't agree more. Eminently watchable, and you just think if the Raiders can hang in there, they have got a sting in their tail. It's just keeping Sydney within reach until that moment comes.
Hannigan, Chianese off the chest, and Marcic second to the ball behind Garuccio. Didn't want to play a back pass, and perhaps some nerves now through the Sydney FC team as a result. Sakine taken to ground. Play continues. Knezovic and McGrath. Malfara. Hannigan, first time ball, a nice one. Back heel from Marcic. Cooper Hannigan taking the game on. And Courtney Perkins clears it only as far as Knezovic. Saved away by Herfslet. Showing us what a good keeper he is with his hands. Now the cross to the near post. Chianese trying to flick it on. Yuli gets it away. Blocked by McGrath. Sydney FC not out of danger just yet. Marcic, he scoops it, and that one a lot more easily dealt with. But Luka Knezovic, who scored against Rochdale in the round of 32, nearly had a long shot goal there.
Yeah, it was a good effort. And a good series, quick as it was, of pressure from the Raiders. It takes a lot of heart to keep bouncing up against a highly rated opponent, highly credentialed opponent, a football club with a much bigger CV.
McAllister hurdles past one challenge, gets into the box, and then he's cut back straight to Malfara. Knezovic, delightful back heel. Shouts for handball from Marcic. He goes in and wins it back regardless. And now Fernandez can go. He's got Knežević on the right. Knežević, take two! Across the face this time. Very acute angle to work with. And seemingly no touch on the way through.
Well, he's got the taste for it now, Knežević. If he just had that degree of positivity earlier on in the game when he broke into the penalty area on the left-hand side, might have done something a bit different, because he's showing more of what he's about here. This is a great raid. The ball out to the edge of the penalty area, forcing that good work from Husflett in the Sydney goal.
Knežević 4 goals this season in the league, 2 in the cup, including in the round 7 win against Wollongong United that qualified SD Raiders for the national stages for the 2nd time in their history. And then popped up as well in the win against Rochdale in the round of 32. Just 1 additional minute to end the first half. Can the Raiders bring this Fairfield Showgrounds crowd to life with the last kick before the break? Rag. They're playing some good stuff here, the Raiders now. Chianese on the end of McGrath's pass. He's got 2 opponents on him. Malfara. And just a little hot for his teammates, but he's going to win the ball back again. Great commitment to the cause.
He's a tiger. No question about that. Sebastian Malfara.
And now Hannigan. He's free to swing it across here. Hannigan. And the end product just not there.
Disappointing. Disappointing for the Raiders. Finished really strongly. Midfield right at the heart of their push. Led by Malfara, who, interestingly, Teo, his brother Serge, is on the coaching staff at Sydney. Or will be for the next season. He's now the head coach at NW Spirit in NPL 1. But will be back on the books of Sydney FC next year.
So the halftime whistle goes. Sydney FC scoring through their Japanese import Takahiro Sakine. Goals in consecutive rounds for him. And it is the difference between the teams. A couple of last-ditch goal line blocks keeping Sydney FC to 1. Not before the Raiders had a revival. And at the halftime break, it's SD Raiders 0, trailing Sydney FC 1.
What are you doing?
We're planking.
It's because of our internet providers.
We're stuck in 2011.
Same slow internet speeds.
And high prices.
It's like a nightmare.
Enough planking. Superloop is a network purpose-built for the super-fast future of the internet. You are free.
Don't take it lying down, Australia. Refresh your internet.
for Sydney FC. They lead 1-0 at halftime of this Hahn Australia Cup quarter-final against Southern Districts Raiders, who got not quite a standing ovation, but they got a very warm ovation as they left the pitch at the end of the first half. The home fans definitely showing their appreciation for the contest they've put up. The travelling Sydney FC fans have been having a lot of fun out at the showgrounds. Tonight, Sydney FC will be attacking towards them in the second half, and there's the goal scorer, Takahiro Sakine. He'll be carrying so many expectations for Sydney FC in the upcoming A-League season, which is, of course, just under 2 months away now. The 16th of October, Friday night, they start with a Sydney derby against the Western Sydney Wanderers. But between now and then, they want to have 2.5 games. The rest of tonight, a cup semi-final and also the cup final, in order to stay in the hunt for silverware, in order to stay in the hunt to qualify for Asia. Earlier tonight, the Newcastle Jets and Melbourne Victory found out their paths through both the AFC's Elite and also Champions League 2 competitions. It's a league phase in the Champions League Elite, so the Jets have got some dates to look forward to. And of course, the winner of the Hahn Australia Cup gets that ACL 2 spot straight away, and knows heading into the A-League season that if it is an A-League team, of course, that wins, that they've got Europe to look forward to. By stark contrast, Southern Districts Raiders, they're still dreaming of a cup set here, a comeback tonight, and then it'll be straight back to league duty against Northwest Sydney Spirit at Valentine Sports Park on Saturday. And of course, a remaining week of work between now and then as well. But they have put up a really good show in the first half, some enterprising football, lots of tough tackling. Will we see a change of strictness from the referee in the second half, having had the halftime break to contemplate what was left to let go, or will it be more of the same? It looks as though neither team are making substitutions. I've been told from a fan on the opposite side to our scaffold that 3,041 are in the Fairfield Showgrounds tonight, and they have at least 45 more minutes to enjoy as we're back underway at the start of the second half. And Andy Harper, as you rejoin me, the SD Raiders, they've had half-time to really assess where they're at and say, we are up to our ears in this one.
Well, they certainly are. I guess there would have been a quick assessment as to how the players were faring physically. It's been a huge toll on them as part-time players. But the fact that they're still in this match after everything, it speaks volumes to what they're achieving. Sydney have looked reasonably comfortable for the most part. They've played some terrific stuff. And Zucchini has underlined what a great pickup he's going to be with that goal that separates the teams. The Raiders can just hang in there. They'll believe, as they did this time last week against the Bulls, that they can find that punch if they can just stay in the contest until that point.
Bit of an inglorious moment there for the goal scorer, Sakine. Very loose first touch, conceding a throw in.
Just taking your lead, Teo, out of half-time on the Newcastle Jets opponents in the Champions League Elite. I mean, there's some massive clubs coming, including, of course, the superstar from last year, Eli Adams, with Gamba Osaka.
Be a nice little reunion. Here's Hannigan. Backheel clearance away was clever from Garuccio. Malfara, again, showing us his leap in midfield. He's really hurt himself on landing there, either shoulder or back. And the ball is going to be put out here because that looked like quite a concern immediately upon impact.
Yeah, I think it was pretty heavy landing in the small of his back. He just 31 years of age now, Sebastian. Serge is his brother, of course. He's really come alive in this cup. I saw him actually taking the field with his twin kids. It hasn't been altogether easy for the family either. He's just making the most of this cup. He does land heavily there.
We had only the 1 minute of stoppage time in the first half, but we're going to have considerably more with this early delay. Looking at the bench for Raiders, they do have Yakov Malbasa, who scored 7 times this season in the league and 1 in the cup on the bench. Robert Eramugo, who's been something of a super sub as well. Matthew Lee, maybe the most like for Malfara if he's unable to continue, but they'll do everything in their power to keep him on here. And the Sydney FC bench, Harps, anyone you think deserves a run or a few more minutes than others based on who hasn't made the starting 11 tonight?
Well, Zach Jesus has looked good. He's made way for today. We talked about Kamijo as well. I just think there's a real onus on Al-Hassan Toure to get himself game sharp, game ready and contribute according to his potential and talent. Sydney fans haven't seen the best of it. They've certainly seen snippets, and there was a really bright patch last year which was good enough to get him picked in the national team. But that needs to be a more consistent output. So perhaps off the bench, Al-Hassan, of all the players there, to see exactly what he has to offer, keeping in mind, of course, he's recruited a new striker, Nigerian Sunday, who could be ready for semi-final action if Sydney navigate their way safely from here with their 1-0 lead.
So Malfara looking sore, but what looks like a potential arm injury. Bit of a stinger down the arm perhaps. Goran Laboya has sent a few subs to go and warm up, but it looks like Malfara is going to come on. A bit of conjecture over how and who is restarting play and who's giving the ball back, which is what Garuccio does. Yes, Oriola Sunday announced yesterday, the Nigerian arriving from the J3 in Japan. Of course, Melbourne Victory recruiting out of that league with Charles Nduka last season, and we'd seen Joey Coletti of the Brisbane Roar go over and play at that level between stints in Australia at the Brisbane Roar, so a bit of mystery about him, but he's not on the team sheet tonight. Here goes Knezovic for the Raiders. Fernandez, and bombing forward, Charlie Ragg into the box. Ragg with a shot blocked away by Ryan Grant.
Yeah, good double coverage there as well by Joe Lacey. Been very impressive today. It was a good breakaway by the Raiders. Again, just the terrier work in midfield by Malfara. All springing left, and the Raiders with an early little bit of hope that they might hurt Sydney.
Thoughts of a quick counter-attack were short-fused, and now they're going to give the ball away high up the pitch. McGrath breaks out to the left. Joe Lacey in tow. Fernandez with it all to do, swivels. Oh, touch off the defender. Could have made it a little awkward, but Herfslet well positioned, and let's not forget, after his shaky moment on a back pass in the first half, he did make a very good save to deny Knezovic after that. Letter. Robust defending from the captain. Hannigan. Looking forward to having him run past under our broadcast scaffold in the second half here. He's an all-action player. It's Lacey. Plays to Quintal. Snapping at the heels. Malfara right back in there with Ragg. There is no let-up from these Raiders, and Malfara wipes out Quintal, and that will be the first yellow card of the game.
Enough's enough, says the ref. You've been too close to the hot moments too often, Sebastian. You need a yellow card on that one. And beautiful agility from Tiago Quintal to make that space. And very positive out of the blocks have been the Raiders to get this second half underway.
Popovic won the ball initially. Quick 1-2. Comes McHugh short of clear. And Herfslet drawn out of his area. Kienese trying to cut off some angles here. So's Marcic, but Herfslet sure-footed. Out to Popovic. And now Grant. Sydney FC throw in on the right.
That's great work from Tiago Quintal.
Have a look at that fancy footwork as Sydney FC are away. And here he is on the ball now. Quintal, Sakine, offside. Even with a deflection, he did appear to have straight offside, and for what it's worth, Michael Figueira batted it away. Hard to tell on that angle.
Yeah, he does look the furthest forward of all the available players, attacking and defending, apart from the goalkeeper, which rendered him offside.
Lacey. Garuccio, a bending back pass. Rears up off the surface, but easily dealt with in the end by Herslut. No scares. Quintal, Courtney Perkins. See the press trying to be affected, but Sydney FC playing through it. Quintal and now Lacey. He's got two runners breaking on the left. One of them is Sakine. And the pass just a little overhit. He might have also straight offside there, Sakine. Hannigan coming back in the other direction. Yuli's touch is going to give the Raiders a throw-in. Or is it? Corner deflection. Sydney FC ball. Hannigan. Now McGrath. Ooh, off the face of Joe Lacey. Seemingly all right to continue though, not too dazed. Never a nice feeling though. As we see there, as he charged in. Malfara did beautifully under Lacey's challenge. Bit of history between those two in this very game. And now Rag. Knezovic. A bending strike headed away. Goalkeeper not needed, as it was dealt with by Popovic. McHugh Shaw went leaping in on a con. And out of that aerial duel, he's won himself a free kick, and there's a little bit of back chat as well.
There's some space opening up for the Raiders, particularly down the left-hand side. Sydney ultimately defending it very effectively. It's a heavy landing, a big whiplash action. McHugh Shaw, but no apparent harm done. As he bounces back to his feet and goes in to deputise for Knezovic. Make sure everything's okay. You'd imagine this is going to be McHugh Shaw with that left foot of his. It's a peach. It's a real peach. I wouldn't be wasting any opportunity.
Seb Malfara is there with him, and he takes it instead, and it's not the greatest delivery, truth be told, as Sakine drives it away. And set pieces have been few and far between for the Raiders, and now they could be punished on the counter. Akol Akon keeps the ball in, and he's fouled. And we're about to see the second booking of the game as Knezovic fells the Sydney FC teen sensation.
Well, he got himself in knots, Knezovic, to start with. I mean, it was his ball to win fairly. As it first came over, he misread the flight. Akol Akon helped himself and then was brought down. The two were in a pretty close and friendly conversation before the resumption of play after half-time. Nothing friendly about that siding tackle from Knezovic. He's quick to apologise to his mate.
Could this be the contrast between the teams? Raiders don't make the most of a wide set-piece opportunity at the other end, and now Sydney FC with perhaps an even further out, less threatening opportunity here, but the execution is key. As we approach the hour mark, it does feel like this is an important defensive stand for the Raiders to avoid going 2-0 down. Here comes the ball from Garuccio. Ryan Grant was unmarked, and Courtney Perkins. Well, the flag is up for offside, but Jordan Courtney Perkins was trying to imitate his teammate Ben Garuccio's scorpion kick from some years ago.
Well, Ryan Grant drifts offside. Decision doesn't come before Grant has squared the header to Courtney Perkins, who does go, I guess you'd call it a scorpion, but probably in the Australian context you now call that the Garuccio.
I thought you were going to say Yabby for the Yabby kick.
No, but I like that one, Tay.
Save it for...
You can patent that.
Save it for when we see something that resembles it. Right now, Sydney FC are trying to exert a bit more control of general play here, because Raiders arguably have come back out slightly better in the second half, but it might all change right here. Oh, the finish goes agonisingly wide. Expected the net to ripple there, and SD Raiders get away with one. Garuccio puts it across the face.
Beautiful work by Akola Con. And Garuccio, having ignored Tiago Quintal, look at Quintal there. It's the cutback, it's a tap in. But after ignoring Quintal, Ben's got a score from here. And I reckon 9 times out of 10 with that exquisite left foot of his, he scores it. But that was the one that was missed, and he had Tiago Quintal on the 45-degree angle.
Tell me the logic here, Harps, because Brian Grant is now lining up at left back and Ben Garuccio on the right. Have they just not been able to reorganise after the set pieces, or have they made a deliberate switch? We'll find out soon, I guess, but here's Garuccio popping up on the right again as he ventures further afield to Akol Akon. He's weaving and taking players on and succeeding. Akol Akon can't get past McHugh Shaw. Farah turning at the edge of his own penalty area, and he will have a throw in to relieve some of the pressure.
Yeah, it's another good bit of play from Akola Con. Getting one back on Knezovic there.
And he's immediately stripped of the ball by McHugh Shaw. So a couple of fallen players. Knezovic a bit more slowly getting back to his feet, but the ball is live at the feet of Malfara, and he is taken to ground. And this time a free kick, and Malfara is arguing that Joe Lacey should be given a card here. He gets on with the job, plays it long, hoping for Chianese. Popovic missed the interception initially, but he's able to recover. Herfslet plays it out. Garuccio not quite turning into trouble. McAllister with a shallow layoff, and Sakine wiped out for his trouble. But it's a good pass. And now McAllister alone in the middle on the end of a Con's ball. And a heavy touch. Luxa fortune for Michael Figueira. Now the game stretches and opens up a bit. Takahiro Sakine is still down. He was playing Chianese onside. And through comes Hannigan. And the Raiders are in behind. The cross is met and saved brilliantly. Fernandez draws a top stop out of Gus Herfslut.
That's a great save. And Fernandez has got beautiful technique. And he meets this ball with tremendous promise. And Herfslut, desperate across his line to his right, keeps Sydney in the lead. And there might have been 2 down. Not 30 seconds earlier. Heavy touch from McAllister. That makes it 2-0. Beautiful ball from Akola Con. Hasn't he had a special couple of minutes? And then up go the Raiders. Fernandez with the biggest test so far tonight for Herfslut in the Sydney goal. Would have been a spectacular equaliser. Sakine still getting attention.
Well, the risk reward was on show there, nearly conceding at one end to very nearly scoring at the other. And the end result is a corner for the Raiders. Sydney FC fans are singing, they're chanting. Can the Raiders bring their home fans back into this contest? Referee Rowan Fisher giving the telling off at the near post here to Letta, who's jostling against Yulee. And immediately resumes doing so. So here comes the corner. Herfslut's up, and the volley from Bragg. Trying to go around the corner, McHugh Shaw. He was blocked immediately. Big swing noting from Knezovic, and away comes the ball for Sydney FC. Letta, last-ditch challenge. Knocks over Quintal. He did enough, and he did it all legally. And the ball ends up flashing out for a Raiders throw.
Still plenty in these tackles. And there's been enough encouragement for the Raiders for them to believe they're still in it. They probably shouldn't be. McAllister might have made it 2-0.
The press all the way up, forcing a hurried pass out of McGrath, but Support's coming in the form of Marcic. Goes back to McGrath. Over to McHugh-Shaw.
Just for the record, Teo, Ryan Grant and Ben Garuccio are back in more familiar territories at the moment.
They did swap back. So you can get stuck.
It can take a couple of cycles in the game to get your positions back.
Of course, Garuccio nearly popped up and scored while moonlighting as a right back on the opposite side. And we see another foul, this time on Ryan Grant. Back in his familiar surrounds of right back.
On the yellow card, Sebastian Malfara. The referee just reminding him of that fact. There's nothing particularly heinous in that challenge. But there is the situation of the accumulation of fouls.
Sydney FC went backwards from the free kick and switched sides. Courtney Perkins. Garuccio with a flick on. Sakine, delightful first touch. Goes to work on the left. And Hahn very wide. Can he keep it in? He does. Hahn. Dealt with it in the near post initially. Quintal. And Lacey, big deflection. It's going to loop up with a bit of spin on it. And that made it just comfortable enough for Figueroa. We've gone well beyond the hour mark. Still neither team readying substitutes. Sydney FC's are warming up down at the right of screen. Raiders have all returned to the bench, bar two. Aramugo and Lee are still warming up. Here goes Fernandez, who tried to reverse direction, but it was blocked immediately. Quintal stepped right into the challenge of McGrath. He can take it and run. Chianese. McGrath with a header. And perhaps no real purpose as he just nodded the ball into the space for Herfslut to collect.
No, it's probably a tough call, but they just need to relax a little. Just even a fraction in the penalty area of Sydney. Do the Raiders. They rush that very moment they get half a chance. They rush the execution. Just need a little bit cooler mindset in those moments.
Knezovic goes for it from distance, on target, but seen all the way.
That was very ambitious from Knezovic. He too had some exciting opportunities late in that first half. Looking to reprise those moments just then.
They are creating regularly at the moment, the Raiders, but again, the finishing touch evades them. Herfslut, risky pass, Lacey, and now Yuli. And it isn't going to work out for Sydney FC because across came Marcic and now Hannigan, and they win the ball. Rag trying to turn away from Grant. Advantage given Sydney FC's way. Hahn. Rag determined to go and win the ball back, and he did so with a bit of physicality on the way through. Al Hassan Toure has been summoned by the Sydney FC bench. He'll be arriving at the next break in play. McHugh-Shaw waving his arms, telling someone to get long. And then he underhits the pass. Chianese left stranded. Popovic is going to deflect off Malfara in midfield, but Sakine is there. Sydney FC have got to play it down. And Garuccio is going to see play whistled to a stop here.
Here's Popovic, who brought the ball down off his chest and carried the possession into Raiders half. He's come a cropper since.
Wataru Kamijo has been readied as well. Harps, here's the incident. Don't quite see the point of impact. Maybe we will here. Knee on knee potentially.
Would the knee go in somewhere? Into the midriff. Popovic wondering why the referee wasn't there prosecuting his case. And he's up and moving, which is good to see. It'll be a Sydney ball from the restart here.
Yuli to Lacey. He's got Sakine on the left flank. Takahiro Sakine. He's going to draw a corner kick. And the double sub for Sydney FC continue to wait in the wings. Ben Garuccio on corner duty. Swinging left foot and easily cleared, by the Raiders defence. Not a good time to get a case of the hiccups because here come the Raiders. Yuli lunged out his foot, able to stop the ball, and the advances of McGrath. Oh, looked like a handball by Fernandez, and there's no disguising that with the referee in close proximity.
That was a terrific intervention by Reece Yuli under extreme pressure. There was a clutch of charging Raiders. Yuli was really assured in that difficult moment.
So, double sub for Sydney FC. Joe Lacey coming off here for Wataru Kamijo. And the goal scorer, Takahiro Sakine, makes way for Al Hassan Toure. Now 2 changes answered in kind for SD Raiders. Robert Eramugo is going to come on here for Luka Knezovic. Had that shot in the first half which drew a great save out of Gus Herfslet. And it's also an opportunity here for Justin Chan Frias, who was only thrown onto the bench after an injury in the warm-up for Lachlan Everett. So he wasn't even on the bench at the start of the night. Now he finds himself on the pitch in the number 77 shirt. And Sydney FC very nearly find themselves 2-0 up as that ball flashes through the 6-yard box. And Hannigan against Garuccio. No free kick, but it will be a corner. Opportunity. Corner headed off the near post by Kienese. Yuli lofts across. Figueroa's up. It's brought to ground. It's loose, but briefly he's able to break it in. Over the head of Eramugo. Scored 4 goals this campaign. Robert Eramugo, 3 in the league, 1 in the cup. Shaw's pass, Kamijo, nearly an instant impact, but Malfaro right there, and now Chan Frias. Out to the right, sets Hannigan away. Hannigan's cross, glanced on by Kienese, and Eramugo not quite in the right spot.
No, great chance. And that was a good option from Kienese. He didn't quite get the glance going the way he envisaged, but it had real promise. Nice little delivery as well from Cooper Hannigan. And still they come, the Raiders. As close as Sydney might come to putting this one to bed. Every time they don't, it's almost like another breath of energy for the Raiders, who've given such a good account of themselves here this evening.
Goran Lapoya watches on from the sideline. Justin Chan Frias, 23 years old, born in New South Wales, but has played youth internationals for the Philippines. So he's got some experience in the international game. And he's on now. And the Raiders might be on here. Eramugo, crunching challenge from Popovic, and he got the ball.
Great, another great opportunity. Just that little bit of execution. Their ball winning and their appetite to win the ball in midfield has been really impressive. Taya have been so combative, and when they've had the chance to play, they've tried to play and just done a superb job. They've been a really strong opponent for Sydney. equally comfortable in saying have deserved their lead and had some good chances to kick clear, maybe put this one to bed, but the fact that they haven't, and this tigerish mentality from the Raiders.
Fernandez. Sweeping cross coming from Chianese. Second ball all important. Rag wills himself onto it. And a firmly struck shot, but straight at the goalkeeper. McHugh Shaw clears hard against the sideline. How would you be feeling if you're Patrick Isnorbo at the moment, Harps? I mean, as far as closing this game out, but also just 70 minutes of this performance so far.
Yeah, well, I think there'll be a measure of frustration. I would say there's more than a passing acknowledgement of how well the Raiders have done from the Sydney coach Patrick. He wouldn't be too big to be able to accept that the opponents have been very, very good tonight. And there's been some moments where he would want his team to be better in the one-on-one situations.
Chan Fries this pass. Hannigan. Well, that was vital backtracking work. And Akola Con always left the ball with Hannigan. Can he pick out a teammate? Cleared off the near post, and now Akon has recovered to clear. There is a cluster of Raiders players waiting at the halfway line to reload and go again. Malfara. Running right. Hannigan in space. A question of accuracy with the cross. It falls kindly. Chianese on the turn. He did not catch the ball. It looked so promising. Got the first touch, he had the chance to spin, but he just didn't connect.
And so nervous would be the Sydney onlookers here, just how resilient the Raiders have proven. And they've got these moments of quality, and they will get one if they keep the game as tight as possible. Don't let Sydney kick away, and Sydney aren't good enough to kick away. They're going to get a chance. They've put themselves in this position. They've got exactly the right mentality. And will Sydney have the quality to finish them off as the way they probably should?
Well, that was next level from Al Hassan Toure. He really showed a clean pair of heels to McHugh Shaw there, but not able to make the most of it with the cross in too close to the goalkeeper. Fresh off the bench, quite the prospect, the camped Socceroo, Al Hassan Toure. Figuera, a hurried clearance, and that's going to run away for a throw-in. We've ticked into the final 15 minutes of regulation. Sydney FC 1 foot in the semi-finals of the Hahn Australia Cup as things stand. Akon, Garuccio. Letta opened up the body. Chan Fries keeps the ball moving. Fernandez had Yuli right on him, and Yuli gives away the free kick. So a free kick inside the defensive half for SD Raiders. James Letta. Cooper Hannigan. Chianese brings the ball down. Has he got support? He's wanting Hannigan to get forward. He did just enough to protect the ball. Chianese. The cross over the head of Aramugo. Charlie Ragg will chase it back out of the penalty area. McHugh Shaw. Crosses raining in. Up comes Herfsloot. Great leap over the top of Fernandez. And the ball played into the back of the referee. So it'll be a drop ball.
That's a big moment from Herfsloot. He's had a couple of routine saves to make. He's done extraordinarily well off the Fernandez effort. It's a lovely opportunity that looked like it was coming the way of Aramugo. Just couldn't quite get the elevation. The ball had a little bit too much in it. And that was a really good bit of goalkeeping. Most recently from Herfsloot.
That long pass from Hannigan bent outside the field of play on its way around. Goran Laboya, just quiet encouragement for players within earshot. And there's still a great energy in this Raiders team. Fresh legs helping the press now in the form of Eramugo. Yuli, Grant, and Yuli. Akon, and around McGrath, but not Chianese. The attacker getting back to help out in midfield. Malfara, caught, and Wataru Kamijo advancing, but the pass is a little long. Matthias McAllister continues to lead the line for Sydney FC. Hannigan taking the game on from right back. Great burst forward. He bends it towards Eramugo off the shin. Can he get there? He's legged! And the referee, after consultation, is seemingly pointing to the penalty spot. Is he walking it back? He's walking it back outside the box. And the protests start from the Raiders.
Wow.
Massive flashpoint in the game.
Well, I thought that was clearly inside the box. If it's a foul, it looked clearly inside the box. No VAR in the Australia Cup. Ref has gone to his assistant for his advice, and the assistant is the one who's walked back to the line outside the penalty area. And that's the challenge. For the challenge, no other reason.
Yellow for Courtney Perkins.
Well, I don't know. When he first slides in, it's clearly outside the box. When he's made the contact, we're not going to see where the line is here. Oh, I don't know. Wow. Any rate.
One more angle. Let's give us a bit more.
Oh, that's in the box, surely. Any rate, for those who harken for the days of no VAR, this is what you get with no VAR.
Well,
refs made the call, fair play. It's a tight one. It's a real tight one.
Assistant on the near side, Thomas Galatly, entrusted there by the central referee, Rowan Fisher. So who will it be to strike this free kick? The crowd is as hot as it's been all night. Gus Herfslett's organising his defensive wall. The right foot of Martin Fernandez or the left foot of Jet McHugh-Shaw.
It's got to be the lefty, surely.
4 in the wall, 1 sleeper laying at ground level, and a couple of players off to either side. It's Fernandez! What a good save by Herfslett! Finger tipped over the bar.
Wow, great stuff. Well, maybe if McHugh-Shaw took the lefty, it would have gone in. Fernandez has done a great job. He's really caught the eye. Good player, good free kick, superb save.
Still a resulting corner. Raiders agonisingly close to an equaliser. McHugh-Shaw's corner, in at the near post, looking for a flick, and through traffic, Fernandez blocked away. Too many bodies in the road. A good routine, but no reward. Chanfreas, Chianese at the edge of the box. Eramugo leaps, and so does Fernandez. It's chaos on the goal line, and there is a foul on the keeper. Bodies just piling in, and then the bodies hit the floor.
Well, the Raiders believe it's coming. You can hear them from the technical area, and they've still got plenty of time. 8 minutes plus stoppages, and they've got Sydney on the rack. And this is a clear foul. Fernandez inside that 6-yard area. And you have to breathe on a goalkeeper in that situation. And it's going to be a foul adjudged. But haven't they put Sydney under some pressure? Hugely controversial moment in the non-award of the penalty. The free kick that followed was spectacular. And a superb save from Gus Herfslett. And the Sydney goal has basically been under siege since.
Made a defensive-minded sub. Zach de Jesus comes on. And he replaces Akol Akon. Foul here on Matthias McAllister. So Sydney FC with an attacking half set piece. And the SD Raiders will respond with a sub of their own. And that was Martin Fernandez's last involvement. He is going to be subbed off here for Thomas Santarossa. Fernandez jogs to the bench. Inside the last 10 minutes of regulation, as Raiders chase a goal to keep their Australia Cup dream alive. So the free kick taken short. Toure. Quintal, edge of the box. Chanfrius comes through, clears away. Grant brings the ball down, trusting in Herfslet. Yuli. Popovic, cool head. Alfara still leading the charge, full of energy. And they might leave a gap in midfield as a result. Garuccio getting down the left sideline. Leaves it with Toure. Toure, Garuccio, Quintal over the bar.
That's a nice sweeping move from Sydney. Hahn looking fresh, linking nicely with Benny Garuccio. And Tiago Quintal just saw the top corner of that goal vacant and he went for it.
Wrestling right in front of the grandstands. Introduction to the game for Zach De Jesus. He's been an ever-present in Sydney FC's NPL Academy for the last couple of years, the Australia Under-17 International. McHugh with a long high ball. Off the head of Courtney Perkins. Hannigan getting forward. Oh, the ball bounces in the area, sits up. Hannigan slipped at the key moment, but he recovers his feet. And his cross is blocked. Toure back helping out. Letta has come all the way up. And it is going to be a Sydney FC throw-in. Patrick Kisnorbo energetically coaching. He's got almost all his team within earshot of this throw-in. McHugh, final 5 minutes of regulation now. Santa Rosa, first impact off the bench. Eramugo head-to-head with Popovic, and the Sydney FC defender won it.
Yeah, terrific defending from Popovic. Dead set. How well are the Raiders going? Bossing Sydney in Sydney's own half.
Chanfrius caught in possession, the counter's on. Out comes Figuera, he's done really nicely. Brought down by Santa Rosa. Is this another high-risk, high-reward sling forward? Not quite, really well done, Camijo. It's seen it a few times in this half. The closer Sydney get to scoring, the more likely the Raiders look on the counter.
Well, sorry, there's a really important, obviously, intervention from the keeper, because as well as they're going and pushing numbers forward, Sydney can hit them on the break. Figuera did very well to intercept that one.
Toure. To midfield for Yuli. Toure. Step over once, twice, and Alfara has none of it. He's just holding on there just to stop Toure getting back and retrieving the ball, but up came Garuccio from left back to do it anyway. Garuccio. Low ball. Letta steps onto it. And out of defensive edges. Chianese's pass. Santa Rosa's got fresh legs off the bench. Can he make ground? He does. Popovic wiped him out. Referee puts his hand to his earpiece just to check in if the assistants are saying anything, and they're not.
Not quite sure how that's not a foul and a yellow card, to be honest with you. At any rate, it's going to be a throw-in for the Raiders, bizarrely.
Entire SD Raiders bench are up, not just because they're about to make a sub. They thought there was a foul there too. And Yakov Malbasa, 7 goals in the league, 1 in the cup. The number 9 shirt on his back. He's going to come on here for Jet McHugh. 1 more sub to go for it for the SD Raiders. And they'll throw him forward. Great commitment from Santa Rosa to get to that ball first.
How that's not a free kick and a yellow card is staggering, really. all for letting the game flow, but you've got to have some basic rules, don't you?
Toure turns on the afterburners, but he's taken it wide. Goran Laboya gets involved. He gets a touch.
He was desperate to make a tackle too then, Goran. Don't you get the feeling? He's riding every moment. His team has done so well. It's a great reflection on he as a coach, what he's done with this team over the last couple of seasons at least.
Sydney FC wanting to kill some clock, but they didn't kill a huge amount there. Popovic comes on. That's Gabriel Popovic for Matthias McAllister. And the Raiders in a flash are down in attack. Here goes Santa Rosa. Numbers in the box. Plenty of Sydney numbers too. Blocked away. Can he beat his man Camijo? Not quite. Camijo, he fashions across there. Santa Rosa, out it goes. Just couldn't swivel around, and we will tick right up to the last minute of the 90 here. How many minutes of stoppage? We did have Malfra go down with that arm injury early in the half. We've had a few tough tackles, we've had a few subs, but you wouldn't think it'll be a huge allocation of additional time. SD Raiders have had a glut of chances. They have not been able to take one. Header from McGrath. And grabbing on Charlie Ragg means an attacking half free kick for the Raiders. Taken quickly by Chan Frice. McGrath, Santa Rosa. Early ball intercepted by Grant. Camijo, got to be careful. Eramugo got there. Did he win the free kick? No. Home fans sound their disapproval. Hannigan, big handful of shirt here. The referee's put the whistle away. Now he finds it.
I thought that was a clear foul on Eramuga beforehand. Again. And then definitely was a foul in the end. Camijo's lost control of the ball. Heavy touch. And then how that's, honestly, sometimes you wonder. Am I making this up? Are my eyes deceiving me?
The most fascinating thing is, had they been given the free kick, they've subbed off Fernandez and McHugh Short,
whatever.
Two players standing over the most recent one.
That's right.
We've ticked into 5 additional minutes at the end of the night. That's going to sail out for a goal kick. Can Sydney FC hold their nerve and hold this 1-0 lead to the finish line? Or can the Raiders buy themselves 30 more minutes of cup football? Figueira, they're starting right down on the last line of defence. Onto the head of Garuccio. Chan Frice. Camijo. Back pass to Alexander Popovic. Albassa's not really had a touch in the limited minutes he's had since coming on. He's still chasing. All he needs is one. He's out there to score a goal and nothing else. He's leading the line. Yakov Malbassa. Time is not the Raiders' friend. 1 of 5 additional ticked by. Figueira. Garuccio, Toure. Toure allowed to advance. Garuccio in an acre of space. Can he pick his mark? Chan Frice blocks away and the ball goes out for a corner. And every time the ball stops, it'll be seconds off the clock. Will they keep the ball in the corner? They've got to wind a lot of time here, Sydney FC. They will. Quintal. Probably the perfect player to have in this sort of situation because his footwork is so good. And now he attacks, and Popovic, a bit of grabbing and grappling, and Hannigan puts him to the ground inside the penalty area, no less, but no foul given, and the ball is cleared away. That will be 2 of 5 additional minutes ticked by. Again, every time the ball stops. Albassa chasing against Courtney Perkins, who wasn't going to take any risks. He just concedes the throw in. Can they execute? They've Had a game's worth of opportunity here, the Raiders. They just haven't been able to stick it away. Cooper Hannigan is up to take the long throw. And he'll get plenty of run up here. Hurls the ball. Eramugo, flick header on. And Herfslut first out to the ball. Did very well. Malbassa came in quite a bit after. Referee does the count. Herfslut clears away. Kintal, Yuli, Camijo, really nice touch to open up the pitch, and he sends it over to De Jesus on the right. Zach De Jesus keeping the ball. Back to Yuli. Garuccio through the left. Al Hassan Toure can't apply the knockout punch. Letter gets another block in. And the clock is Sydney FC's friend. Down to the last minute of the allocated 5. Popovic providing a target up forward. He's done really nicely too. De Jesus. He won't take it to the corner because he's got Quintal on the underlap. And the ball hasn't gone out yet. They've gone and grabbed another one for a goal kick, but it's gone out for a throw. So they're going to have to throw it in from right back. Patrick Kisnorbo, he's tense. Everything has to go right for the Raiders from here. And it's not going to, because Garuccio wins it back at the edge of the box. And he's got Thiago Quintal free. Quintal deflected out, corner kick. And just the setup of the corner will take us to the end of the allocated stoppage time. Sydney FC have got the ball down the right end. And in front of the Cove, who have enjoyed their night out at the Fairfield Showgrounds, Sydney FC are about to put a full stop on this Hahn Australia Cup quarter-final. They were challenged. SD Raiders dared to dream, but Utopia impossibly could not be reached tonight. Sydney FC advance to the semi-finals of the Hahn Australia Cup, and they do so by a solitary Takahiro Sakine goal. The full-time score at the Fairfield Showgrounds, SD Raiders 0, Sydney FC 1.
Indonesia, Intel Project.